Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Une Sports. This is episode 69. Almost the big 7-0. Soon, soon. Welcome back, everyone, to a new episode of Une Sports. Always available on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple. We're back for a new episode, for new funds, new games with your host, Mike and Richie. And on today's topic, we'll be discussing two major topics. And I want Mike to kind of like tell us the topics today.
Yeah, so today we'll be getting into NBA. The Clippers finally got their desired target. The audience can't see me, but I'm putting it in air quotes, and James Harden. They finally got James Harden, and we want to talk about a struggling team, a team that I support because I love Giannis Antetokounmpo, and we're gonna put them together. I want to see where Richie's at, and I'm gonna give my 2 cents about it. We're gonna compare the Clippers and the new look Bucks, and we're also gonna talk about Real Madrid and Rodrygo being. I mean, well, now he's got a couple goals under him the last couple of weeks now, but at the weekend he was benched for um what's his name? Joselu.
Say Lou. Mm-hmm.
Joselu. With Ancelotti deciding to go with Vinicius and Joselu and with his 4-4-2 type of diamond midfield formation and decided to go with Joselu instead of Vinicius and Rodrygo. Also, with that being said, I want to also point out that he also said that this team is not over reliant on Jude Bellingham's goals. So we'll get into that.
Looking forward to
that.
We'll get to that. We'll be right back. All right, this is episode 69. We're back. It's gonna be a fun topics today. I'm looking forward to discuss it, especially the Clippers and the Bucks topic. And then after that, we will close the show with Rodrygo's underperformances, and we'll have a fun game at the end of the game. I mean, at the end of the show. Sorry. Yeah, and I'll give a explanation. It's gonna be. I'm gonna tell Mike a sentence, and he's gonna tell me if he agree, disagree, or somehow agree, or I don't agree at all. So that's gonna be at the end of the game for the segment. I mean, at the end of the show for that segment. But we will be before we actually start the show. I want to give some quick bites of European ball. This week we had Champions League, and we had Europa League today.
Don't remind me.
Don't yeah, sorry, Mike. And also there's a game at playing right now, Indiana versus Bucks. Game is at Indiana right now. It's 35-18. It's perfect because we're gonna be talking about the Bucks as well. But just to give a quick bites of the Champions League weekday. I know Mike don't want to hear about it, but sorry, Mike, I gotta do my job. So on so let's start who we're starting with. Okay, so we start with Dortmund versus Newcastle. Dortmund 2-0. Mike, I want to let you something though. Like, would you imagine Dortmund would have been first right now? They started their campaign losing 2-0 against Paris Saint-Germain, the way they started. Now they first and with 7 points.
No, I wouldn't have, because we discussed this on the episode with Ben as well, and we both thought that the two teams with the better players in the group would actually kind of probably would be coming out of that group of death. But I mean, it's still very, very, very.
Oh yeah,
tight.
there's two more weeks of Champions League. Yeah. Anything can happen in that in that group.
It's still tight.
And the other game that were sorry, kind of lost that right in front of me right now. Okay, so Shakhtar beat Barcelona 1-0. Actually, the game before that, when Barcelona won 2-1, Shakhtar made a good comeback. I had a feeling that they were going to bring it to Barcelona, and they actually won 1-0. Lazio beat Feyenoord 1-0. Porto beat Antwerp 2-0. Manchester City won against Young Boys 3-0. AC Milan beat Paris Saint-Germain 2-1, making that group very interesting. Good game by Loftus-Cheek. And yeah, Atletico Madrid whooped Celtics 6-0. Great game by Antoine Griezmann.
And Simeone got a contract extension.
Yeah, until 2027, right?
It's like, dude, like leave already.
He's not leaving. He's not leaving. Leipzig won 2-1 against us. Sorry, Zvena. Another dancing moves by
Xavi.
Xavi Simons in the locker room. He was dancing to Gau. And then we had Real Sociedad beat Benfica 3-1. And Mike, I know you were kind of pissed off, like you were asking what's going on with Benfica. Yeah, but you gotta also ask yourself, Real Sociedad is having a great season. I feel like if they had a real number 9, they would have been more of a threat. Like you saw over the weekend, they lost against Barcelona in the last second, a goal by Rahul. It was very heartbreaking for them. But you feel like if they had a number 9 in that team, they could have won that game. Napoli tied against Union Berlin 1-1. Copenhagen beat Manchester United 4-3. Salzburg lost against Inter Milan 1-0. Bayern Munich won against Galatasaray 2-1. Arsenal beat Sevilla 2-0. PSV won against LC Lens 1-0. Real Madrid beat Braga 3-0. So we have 2 more weeks of it. But let me give you some insight on the Europa League that happened today. We had Lenzer Athletic Sport Club. They beat Union Saint-Gilloise 3-0. Ajax lost against Brighton 2-0. And we know everyone knows like Ajax is not having a good season at all. Rennes, they won against Panathinaikos. I'm so sorry today, guys. Heavy. But Rennes, all the French teams they're having a good European so far
campaign.
Yeah. Leverkusen won against Karabag 1-0. Toulouse once against Liverpool 3-2. And Mike was just having a couple of fun right now. Like the Klopp was mad about the noise that was
at his post-game press conference. It was so funny. It's so funny. I relate to Klopp so much because I'm such a sore loser as well.
I know you would have probably pissed off. Like, yo,
I would have been
at the door.
I'd be like, yo, find me, man. I'm leaving. Find me.
Maccabi Haifa lost against Villarreal 2-1. Sheriff lost against Servette 2-1. Slavia Praha, they beat Roma 2-0. AEK Athens, they lost against Marseille 2-0. West Ham beat Olympiacos 1-0. Sporting, they beat Rakov Sixkovla 2-1. Real Betis beat Aris Limassol 4-1. Fekir made his comeback over the weekend. Freiburg beat Baka Topola 5-0. Rangers beat Sparta Prague 2-1. Aachen lost against Molde 3-1. And Atalanta, they beat Sturm Graz 1-0. And that was it. It's very interesting to see what's going to happen into the group of Paris Saint-Germain, Newcastle, Dortmund, and AC Milan, because anyone is in it right now.
Yep.
And the next game is going to be Paris against Newcastle and Parc des Princes and AC Milan versus Dortmund. It's going to be very interesting. Yep. See, your team is making a comeback, right? Told you.
I mean, I would hope. They haven't started the season well. They haven't been playing well. They lost a lot of their defensive identity. And,
actually, let's segue to that.
Yeah.
To that topic. So I know, like, over the week you wanted to talk about that, and you said that you had a very specific question about it, and it was very interesting. You said that who's most likely to succeed, the Clippers or the Bucks? And I actually took some great notes at work today because it was raining. There was no clients, so
nice
old school notes.
Nice.
I don't know if you want to start first or if you're
Yeah, okay, I'll start first. Like
All right.
it's interesting because like my thought process was like and has always been so far. It's like why did why did the Clippers want to acquire James Harden? And I once I'm done, I can't wait to hear your point, to see what your thoughts are. But in my opinion, right now, in the way that they started, I feel like how Russell Westbrook ended the season with the Clippers and how he started the season with the Clippers just now. I mean, it was only what 2 or 3 games before they acquired James Harden,
Mm-hmm.
but the team was in such a good rhythm, and I feel like Russell Westbrook really figured out his role on that team already. And even now with James Harden coming into the team, like he's still playing well, but you know, it's not like I'm expecting these guys to like, hit it off like from the get-go. I'm expecting growing pains, right? Because that's what it is. Like, you're just gonna have to figure out how to adjust to a guy like James Harden. But the reality is that like in my opinion, like he doesn't fit the mold of whatever the Clippers seems like they wanted to achieve. Like, he doesn't play defense. He's a ball dominant guard. Yes, you could play a lot of like, guys like Kawhi and PG, they don't necessarily need the ball in their hands all the time, but
You can play
like
off
when I
ball.
yeah, they could play off ball, but when I'm looking at like, PG's MVP season and how he started the season this year, like, like it was like a two-man game between him and Russell Westbrook. And where like he was so dominant and he's so good with the ball in his hands, like, making decisions, like, collapsing defenses. Like he's one of the better ball handlers in the league. Like, that's how nice PG is. Like if people don't know who PG-13 is, PG-13 is like this dude is nice. Like he's a baller. So now like, you go and get James Harden and I'm like, yo, what's the point in this? Like you need guys like and this was a topic that we wanted to talk about for so long, but we never really got the chance to do it because it requires so much research. But when we look back at it, like how many super teams are really successful, bro? Like how many of them? Like there's not that many. Like you could actually create a big three, but there's there's a really specific role in terms of like, how you construct that big three. When we
Yep.
look at the Bucks, like Drew Holiday, like one of the reasons why I feel like they just took a hit and they traded Drew Holiday is the fact that like he's so inconsistent on offense sometimes, but like he's still a baller. Like, don't get me wrong, Drew Holiday can be a 25 point per game scorer in the league, but he's so inconsistent that they're like, yo, dude, let's just go for the consistency of like Damian Lillard that we know can give us 30, 35 points every single night he steps on the court without fail. And will sacrifice the defensive stalwart that Drew Holiday is. When we look at the Miami Heat, Chris Bosh had to make sacrifices. When
Yep.
we look at the Cleveland Cavaliers, Kevin Love had to make massive sacrifices. Like, like these guys had to fit roles and
Yep.
they had to play specific parts.
I
And
agree.
when I'm looking at the Clippers, I don't really see it. So, but I would say that I believe in Ty Lue, and this is where my caveat is, and this is probably going to be a hot take and probably going to catch a lot of people off guard. But I think Ty Lue has the balls to bench one of these guys. I don't know who it's gonna be, but I know for a fact in my guts, Richie, that this ain't gonna work, man. This ain't gonna work. So
I,
it ain't
who
gonna work.
if he had to bench someone, who would it be?
James Harden. Like you can't do this.
Mm.
You can't do this to Russell Westbrook again, man. Like Russell Westbrook
Now,
has
if you bench James Harden, do you make it? Isn't it gonna be worse? Kinda.
that, dude. Like he has to understand. Like the team had a rhythm
The
without him.
rhythm. Okay. No
The
problem.
team had a rhythm
Yeah.
without him,
Mhm.
and I'm looking at it as in terms of like, yo, you have Bones coming off, you got Bones coming off the bench, you got Norman Powell, um,
Terrence
and
Mann.
yeah, and you have James Harden coming off. You could bolster your bench, man.
Yeah, that would have been a hell of a bench.
Your bench could be really lethal. Now I seen like Ty Lue trying to figure out some rotations where James Harden plays a little bit more of the game, like by himself, like where Kawhi and PG might not be on the court. So it's gonna take some figuring out. But in long term, in my opinion, I don't think these 5 guys could be starters
Okay.
where they're actually ending games in crunch time. I mean, obviously, like, the final 4 minutes of the game, more than likely, a lot of times they're probably going to be on the court together, and he's going to have to take timeouts here and there to actually switch them for defensive schemes and, defensive matchups and stuff like that, because James Harden is such a liability. Like, this dude, like, plays with zero effort whatsoever. But in my opinion, I think long term, like, from what I'm seeing with the Bucks right now, like, I think the Clippers are going to be successful first. In my opinion, I think that's where I'm going to be leaning, because I think that the Bucks, in my opinion, they really have to reconfigure that roster.
Wow, you're picking the
Yeah,
Clippers.
yeah, that's what I
Wow,
said. Like,
I
it's
was
gonna
not
catch a lot.
expecting. Yo,
It's
you
gonna
caught me
catch some,
off guard.
yeah, it's
Like,
gonna catch some people off guard, because of the fact that I think that Ty Lue will have the mental fortitude and he will have the balls to actually make the call and say, like, hey, this isn't working. One of these guys is gonna have to take a lesser role and come off the bench. And the lesser role, like, it's maybe overstating it a little bit, because I'm still thinking like this guy's gonna be still playing 35 minutes a game. He's still gonna close out games. But when you're looking at the Bucks right now, like, look at tonight. Damian Lillard is absent. He's taking a night off because of due to injury. And you got Cameron Payne filling in for him in the starting lineup. With all due respect to Cameron Payne, I don't think this good dude is really good. Like,
yeah, he
this
could be
guy
like a
can't.
third point guard or
Yeah,
something.
exactly. This guy can't be your main backup to Damian Lillard. Like,
Yeah,
no way, dude. Like, I understand he was successful in Phoenix, but I'm sorry, like, he cannot be your main backup to Damian Lillard. So I think there's gonna be some, and especially the fact that Chris Middleton, he's on a limits restriction, I think, till like January or something like that. So, like, it's really difficult to find a rhythm and
yeah,
consistency there. So I'm thinking that the Clippers are gonna find the formula to success a little bit quicker than the Bucks when it comes to, like, the long term success overall. Um, the other thing that I want to point out too, just to maybe, put a little caveat there so that, I don't get killed when the Clippers actually eventually lose out in the playoffs, is the fact that the Western Conference is 100% stronger than the Eastern Conference, and Giannis is still that dude. So, and there are not that many contending teams in the Eastern Conference.
yeah.
It's
It's just
literally,
they just gotta go through Celtics.
yeah, it's literally the Celtics and the Philadelphia 76ers. That's really it. So, um, so overall, that's where I'm leaning towards right now. I'm leaning towards the Clippers, because I
Okay,
think, like, the Bucks are gonna have to make some trades. They're gonna have to make some moves.
you kind of caught me off guard because, but it works out because I picked most likely to succeed. I picked the Bucks.
Mm.
I have some points, and you kind of like made some of my points as well. But to go back to let's okay, let me start with the Clippers. All right, so they add James Harden. Did they really need James Harden? Not really, because we said it together. I'm like, even though I picked the Suns to win the series before it started, but you did say that there's no way on earth that this Suns team could beat the Clippers due to many aspects. And when the game really started and the series started, and then I actually saw them like, then the Clippers are actually way better than the Suns, and they're gonna end up winning the season six, but because of injuries,
Injuries, yeah.
yeah, and like you said, like Westbrook find a great rhythm with the team, ending the season and also starting very well. And I feel like he has more confidence playing with the Clippers. There's less pressure, and also he feels more loved. And I think that worked out for him. And then he's more aggressive. He's hitting shots better. He's not doing wild stuff like you guys were saying.
Yeah.
It almost felt like, okay, you got Westbrook starting and you got Bones coming off the bench. Do you really need James Harden? But at the end of the day, James Harden brings a different caviar, like you said. Um, like the word that you were saying, a different caviar as a point guard. He's a, a higher IQ and can elevate the offense better to me than Westbrook and Bones. Um, yes, it's gonna one of those players gonna take a hit. Like with Westbrook, with James Harden coming into the team means more. The ball is gonna have more possession on his hand when he's on the court, and he's gonna take some points away from, I don't know, like some plays away from Paul George or whatever Westbrook could have done, or Kawhi Leonard was gonna have to play different. It is gonna be a different thing, but at the end of the day, when Harden came to, I know it's a different thing because it's less stars in that team, but when Harden came to Philly, he did change his game to being like a full-time point guard, and I feel like he elevated Embiid and also Maxey. And the whole team in general. Like he elevated the offense with the way his playmaking, his IQ, finding the guys. Even when he was playing in the Nets, he kind of elevated the players. And you can see that with his assist last season with 10.6. I know like it's cliche saying 10.6 assists, like, but he actually impacted the game.
For sure. James Harden is a fantastic ball distributor. Don't get me wrong about it. But it's the fact that, like, you know, he needs to see the ball a lot.
Yeah, and he does.
Like early on, like it seems like, you know, it's kind of like he's trying to do that with the Clippers as well. Because I mean, obviously, in the first two games that they all played together, both losses, like we see where the majority of the shots are going. It's still Kawhi, it's still Paul George. So I think there's still an emphasis on that.
Absolutely. But I was going to ask you a question, actually. Would you rather have on the court as a point guard half court possession? Would you rather have James Harden or Westbrook?
I mean, in this context, like if I'm looking at it because I have the sample size already, I'm just gonna go with Westbrook because I just have it already. Like if like let's say hypothetically speaking, you know,
and you really catching me off guard because
I mean, because you know,
I was always the one like going for
you know, I don't like Westbrook and everything like that, but I have the sample size. Like, you know, these guys have been clicking, they've been working well so early on. Let's say hypothetically speaking, Westbrook goes down injured, and then, you know, James Harden takes on the full-time role for the point guard spot for, like, I don't know, maybe 3 weeks, 10, 15 games or something like that. And I have a sample size of how it works. Like maybe I could make a better comparison to who I would want to pick to be the starting point guard. But as of right now, because I have that in my hand, I have that in the back of my mind, I'm just gonna go Westbrook because I think that, like, his aggressiveness and determination just really fits well into what these guys want to do because, like, he attacks the paint so well. Like, I think that even in itself, like, even if he's not that great of a shooter, like, in the way that Kawhi wants to operate in the mid-range and PG can actually be an outside threat, I think that works really, really well. Like, if, you know, they're using Zubac in the screens and either PG or Kawhi is attacking the paint, Westbrook is such a phenomenal cutter that, like, I think it keeps the defense moving. And where I think it's the opposite for James Harden, as of right now at least, that he's so stagnant. Like, he always stands around a little bit, like, waiting for the ball to come and find him and being like a spot-up shooter when he doesn't have the ball in his hands. Like, James Harden is not really going to cut hard for you. Like, he's just not going to do it. He's just not going to do it. Yeah. So that's where I'm at with it right now. So
no, great point. Yeah. But I wanted to say the reason why I actually picked the Bucks, because like you said, you're not 100% sure what's going to happen with the Clippers, how they're going to figure it out. But the reason why I'm picking the Bucks is because I don't know if you remember last season during when Giannis was hurt and Chris was hurt, throughout that phase from December to like end of January, the Bucks lost their identity. Even though they had like their defensive guru, which is Drew Holiday, they still couldn't find any offense. And I remember, like, one of the major titles they were giving this team is that they need to figure it out. They need to get healthy quickly, and they need to figure out how to score again. Yeah, obviously you're gonna take like we're discussing right now before. They took a huge hit defensively because they lost their NBA All Defensive player last season. You're gonna feel it, and you also lost another defender, Grayson Allen. Like he was a kind of a pest sometimes, and
Mm-hmm.
he could guard the wing a little bit
Mm-hmm.
when needed. You're gonna feel it. Like right now, the Bucks defensively, like guarding the pick and roll, help defense, transition buckets. They're not doing their job at the moment. I feel like they're gonna probably figure it out, but at the end of the day, I don't think they're gonna be defensively well like they were before. But one thing for sure, when I I know defense wins ball game, but at the end of the day, when you add Damian Lillard to the team, like you're looking at when Giannis was hurt during the playoffs. Imagine, like, let's say a scenario. Imagine Giannis is hurt again. At least you know you have Lillard who can take over games, score 50 or 40, and that could. You're not gonna find that with Drew Holiday. No disrespect, but
Mm-hmm.
like he's a hell of a ball player. But you're not gonna find a guy that can elevate them in offense all the time because you said like isn't consistent. If I have to, if you have if I have to choose like okay, losing this guy on defense or adding this guy on offense, I'm like I'm going with Lillard because at the end of the day, yeah, I'm not gonna be able to stop defense, but I'm gonna try score more and win the ball game. Because we've seen the defense already. It did win a championship, but it's not consistent anymore. Let's try this way because at the end of the day, when that matters, when you're gonna need the scoring, I'll gamble with Lillard, man. To be honest, because I feel like right now that's what was missing to them, like, and that's what the title they gave them last season: get healthy and learn again how to win ball game offensively. And now you did add an offense. It comes with a cost. You lost a defender, but let's
100%.
with
That's
today
why.
today's NBA, it's like scoring, scoring, scoring. I know you need defenders, but if you can outscore your team, let's see.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's why I was like kind of so disappointed in the fact that they let Nick Nurse go to Philly, and we see how quickly that's paying dividends for the
yeah.
Philadelphia 76ers very early on, and then they go get. I mean, even though like this guy was on the Toronto bench as well, I just don't think he's gonna be a great head
Equipped.
coach.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't. I just don't think he's gonna be a great head coach. From early on, from what I'm seeing, like hopefully I'm wrong because I want to see Giannis win another championship. But
Yeah.
early on, like I wouldn't go for a rookie head coach when you're trying to win a championship during a championship window. I understand, like it's happened a few times in the last couple of years. It happened a couple of times. Nick Nurse has done it. Steve Kerr did it with the Warriors. Ty Lue,
Tyloo with the Cleveland.
I know it has happened, but these guys were Steve Kerr is Steve Kerr. He inherited a team that that was a well-oiled machine already. Like they just needed to take the next step. And then Ty Lue was already part of the organization. He was part of the team, and LeBron actually wanted him to become the head coach. And the same thing for Nick Nurse in Toronto. He was already on the bench. He already knew these guys. Like, so now you're taking a guy that doesn't know the organization. You're coming in. It's a new star comes in. So these guys have to adapt to like whole new system, basically a whole new way of thinking and like ideology and his principles and stuff like that. So I just didn't like it. I wanted like somebody with more cachet probably, and Nick Nurse was that guy, but we'll see. We shall
Yeah,
see.
we shall see. All right, let's move to the next topic. Um, we wanted to talk about Rodrygo,
Yep.
with Real Madrid. He did get the start this week against Braga,
Mm-hmm.
but the weekend, he did not. Remind me again who they played this weekend, Mike. Like last weekend, was it like Rayo?
Rayo Vallecano. Yep.
Yes. So he did not get the the start in the tie against Rayo, and it's no question that Rodrigo is having a tough beginning of a season right now. And Mike wanted to ask me a question about it. Like, you wanted to, why do you believe that he's struggling, Mike? If
I mean, it's not even struggling. I think that it just really sticks to point. Like in my opinion, that it was just like looking at it, it's like a lot of the games that Real Madrid win, like it's with Joselu on the
yeah,
field, man.
I think his movement is helping. Yeah,
And I just looked at it as like, okay, this just proved that, like, dude, yeah, this team just needs a striker. Like
ding 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 ding.
this combination of Vinicius and
Rodrygo.
Rodrygo, like, yes, like, it could give you some outlets a lot of sometimes, but you just cannot you can't undervalue the importance of what the presence of a striker brings. Like, their movement, trying to, hold up play if you got to
Also
play,
create space for your
you know,
wingers.
exactly. Like, whether it's playing back to the goal or actually attacking the box. A lot of times I'm looking at Real Madrid playing, especially like, when Fran Garcia, for example, like even Mendy now, a lot of times, like, they're making crosses into the box, and I'm like, for
To who?
who?
Yeah,
Like,
like
for who? Like, what are we
for
doing, bro?
Benzema's ghost.
Like, like, what are we doing, man? So it's just so funny, and it's like every single time, it's like Jude Bellingham, like that has to like make those runs
Yeah.
into the
Hmm.
box to actually catch those crosses. And I'm like, yo, dude, you're playing with a guy who's 5'7" and 5'8", man.
Like relax,
Like,
like bro.
like so. I don't. And then Ancelotti comes out and he's like, yeah, we're not making any signings in January. And I'm like, oh, come on, bro. Like,
You know he's gonna say that. They're
it's
never
like,
gonna sign nobody in
it's
January.
like, oh my
That's
goodness.
Real Madrid's trait. They're never gonna sign nobody. He's like, don't
But
even ask me. We're not signing nobody in January.
it's like, but what do you think, man? You think I'm looking a little bit too much into it, or is
No,
just a fact
no.
that
I think the formation is not favoring Rodrigo and Vinicius at the moment. They're still trying to figure it out. I feel like before, was it before? Yeah, before injury, Vinicius was taking more risk playing the half space. He was making those runs um centrally. He was trying much more, but at the end of the day, like you always see him going right back in the left wing, isolating because where he's more comfortable. For Rodrigo, I feel like he's the one who's a little bit more lost. Um, Even though like I'm not sure if the audience knows Rodrigo's best position, the position that he ideally wants to play is number 10. And that number 10 is not like a real number 10. Like the number 10 like a Zidane or Messi or Riquelme, those kind of number 10 or Pablo Aimar. Um he's it's more like of a behind a striker guy. Like I don't know if you remember like even when he started as a right wing last season,
Mhm.
his natural habitat was always to where's Benzema?
Yeah.
With Benzema. He wanted to come by with Benzema. Like he wanted to support Benzema liked to play with him as well because like they play very fast. So quick 1-2s and then he runs into the space and then he can operate there and he can also operate in small tight spaces so he would be able to run in those behind those defenders because like when Benzema would drop, he would drop with the he would create like some space like when the center back kind of like follows quick 1-2s and then boom, Rodrigo runs to the space and then he can either score or cross. I don't know whatever he wanted to do at that point. But I feel like now he kind of have to play a different way. Like kind of have to play like very up front. And I don't know if you see that often. He just drops sometimes. He drops. And like yesterday, he dropped many times. Like Diaz had to play like a number 9 sometimes just to
Hmm.
create like that space. So he looks very lost. He doesn't really know how to play that position, and it is gonna be an issue because at the end of the day, like let's say if he was not playing well, if he was scoring, it would have given him some boost. Like, okay, at least he's scoring. But he's not even scoring, so it is a problem, and he's gonna be benched more because Joselu could score more than him at the moment. Um, he needs to figure out a little bit how to play that position.
Yeah,
And I feel like he needs to come. Sometimes I'm not sure if you're seeing that. He comes in the left wing too. He comes play right
yeah.
next to Vinicius. I'm
I
like,
mean,
damn, dude.
that's where he got the cross in for
Diaz.
Diaz's first goal yesterday.
And I'm like, okay, like this dude just doesn't know what to do yet. And I feel like for him to be better, he needs to operate. He needs to find a little like I'm not sure if you see like how sometimes um Jude and Vinicius combine a little bit. It's not really pretty sometimes because Vinicius is not a player that releases the ball quicker. But
Hmm.
I feel like it could be better with he could create that chemistry better with Jude because they can play fast. Because sometimes when Jude wants combined with Vinicius, I feel like Jude wants to play a little bit faster with him. But he knows Vinicius is a guy that wants to hold the ball a little bit, take the defender, and he respects that. But if he does it with Rodrygo and Rodrygo does it with him, it's gonna be quick. And he could run in. He could create. He could kind of recreate a fake Benzema and Rodrygo, like a bootleg,
Uh-huh.
a replica version of that, and then he can play off ball like that. Like if I can use that term, like give it back to Jude, like run into space. Jude will find him, or I don't know, like get us some 1-2s with Carvajal in the wing. Play, I don't know, like just get some momentum. But he missed a lot of goals. I feel like the goals as well kind of
Yeah.
like put him down a little bit. But
It's like, how many
he's
times has this man hit the post?
he's
Like,
actually playing the third position, least favorite, because his natural position, from what he said, is a number 10. He doesn't play that. His second position is the left. He can't because Vinicius is there.
yeah.
So they play him on the right. Now he's playing as a striker. That's like his fourth position. So he's kind of relearning anything. So it is alarming because we need scoring, and scoring is supposed to come from him and Vinicius, and we're not finding that. So he needs to find comfort. He needs to find where he can operate well and then create danger. And yeah, because
What do
we
you?
don't really. Yeah, sorry.
Go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
Because I'm like we at this point right now we don't really need him to drop all the time because we have enough midfielders. But yeah, what was the question you're gonna ask?
I was gonna say, like, what do you make of all these managers just being like masterclass liars? Like, because every week, man, it's like these guys just come out with
They have
just
something to say.
nonsense. Like, like from Carlo Ancelotti saying that
Vinicius and
uh
Rodrygo gonna score more goals than
it's
Bellingham.
like, yeah, or like they're not over reliant on Bellingham goals.
Yeah, all right.
Or Ten Hag saying it's like the team played great football. We dominated the game, et cetera, for the first 20 minutes.
Listen,
It's
you
like,
remember
okay.
last year when Ancelotti said this team was actually like last season. He's like, oh, this is the best team. It's better than the team that won the Champions League. Okay, okay. I know what they're doing. They're just trying to relieve the fans, be like it's gonna be okay. Like this, just the way he's saying right now is like Rodrigo and Vinicius is gonna end up scoring more goals than Bellingham. I think Vinicius might, but I don't think Rodrigo can at this point because if he's gonna share the starting lineup with Jose Lu, it's gonna be tough, man. So they're just smart liars, man. They just don't want to they want you to have a peaceful heart, Mike.
That gotta be, I guess that gotta be part
Yeah.
of the gig now. Like
It's
to
it's
be
for
a,
same thing for Ten Hag. It's like, yo, it's like, bro, he's saying, like the meme, the guy saying it's okay, and then he's
yeah.
on like around the fire. He's just,
this
there's fire. Oh,
is
there is a
this is
fire.
this is this
This
is
is
fine.
okay. This is
This is
fine.
fine.
Oh yeah,
It's like that's part of the gig, man. As a manager, you just got to
yeah.
know how to lie. It's like
Gotta be the
crazy.
best liar.
But they scored. Both of them scored really good goals. I was.
Yeah, hopefully that kind of. I want them to kind of like release Diaz, man. Like I've been asking for him for the longest, because I could see what he can offer on offense.
So what
With
would you do? Would you put him in like a false nine position? Because now you have to drop one of the midfielders. Like, so what would you do?
hey,
What would you
listen, man,
propose?
like anywhere, like left, right, force nine. But
Mhm.
you can't really play him as a force nine or 10 because like Bellingham is very playing well. So they're not gonna change the shape. So why not just start him next to if you're not gonna put Rodrigo, and sometimes Osilu just be missing. Why not try him at this? Like it's early in the season. Try whatever you can at this point because I feel like he could score and he could. He can kind of like give you a different dimension because like he releases the ball quicker. He attacks better. Um, he looks for the players quicker because when you have he kind of will complement Vinicius. You have someone on the left like who want to take defenders who's gonna kind of hold the ball a little bit longer, and you have someone else who actually can take defenders but can make quick decision.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I just want to see him more. I want to see more. I think he could play more because I remember like when one time he came into the game and he changed the game. I think Bellingham scored that in that game, but it was actually him who created the chance. So I feel like he can do so many things for you.
100%. I agree. And
I just
you
don't know
know,
where Adagula is gonna fit. That's who I don't know where he's gonna fit. I don't know where
yeah,
he's gonna get his minutes from because
yeah,
that right
because
wing is stuck. Well, not really right wing, the right striker position, kind of right
yeah,
forward. It's kind of for
yeah.
Rodrygo and Osilu, and
Unless
Diaz is yeah,
unless Real Madrid are in games where they're already leading 3-0 by
yeah,
like the 60th, 70th minute, for him to come in and Ancelotti would be like, "Yo, Jude, you've played enough. Like,
yeah,
we need you long term. Like, come off,
yeah.
like, and then
But
put
Jude is
Arda."
young, man. Like
Yeah,
he should be able
exactly.
to play 90 minutes, like for
And
you know.
we know Ancelotti, man. That dude hates making substitutions.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
like,
yeah.
like taking forever in the day to make subs, man. So,
Hmm.
yeah, there's so many midfielders in Madrid, man. So many,
Yeah,
and no
yeah.
strikers.
No striker. It's like yo, all right. So before we get to the game, Mike, I just wanted to
Mhm,
ask you, who was your I was watching this quick interview with Zidane and Messi.
mhm.
Who was your inspiring number 10?
Oh man.
Don't be telling me no Bruno Fernandez because he's not a
No, no,
number
no,
10.
no,
We're
no.
talking about the real number 10s.
Yeah, I mean, by the time I was like, knowledgeable enough, I would say, like, in terms of like
Doesn't
my,
even you know, doesn't even have to be knowledgeable. Was it a number 10 that like were there like a 10 that you loved? He doesn't have like look at for example, Messi is way better than Pablo Aimar, but
Mhm.
he seems to love this guy, and
Yeah, you
then
see,
if it seems that Pablo Aimar like kind of inspiring him as a number 10.
it's hilarious that you bring up the name because
It's
that's one of
Tim.
the name
Okay.
that's one of the names I was gonna bring up. It's Pablo Aimar, it's Riquelme,
Okay.
it's Guti.
Okay.
It's those guys, man. Like, the guys that like, pure maestros of the game, in my
Yeah.
opinion, like that I really, really enjoyed watching. I mean, of course, you have Zizou, but Zizou, I don't know. I feel like he was a more like a real traditional number 10, in my opinion. Like, that may be controversial, but I don't know. But yeah, man, like those are the guys. Like, even like I wouldn't even I wanted to say Rivaldo as well, but I don't know if he's like a 10 really, like,
Yeah.
but it's those guys, man. It's Kelme, it's Pablo Aimar, it's
That's a
Guti.
good choices.
Yeah,
Yeah. Those are
those
maestros, man. Those
those
were
were
like the
my
number 10s, man.
those were my guys.
Mhm.
Those were my guys. And they
If I had to pick someone, I would
a
just say
bun
Mike Mikhail
and
Balak.
oh, and Deco. Oh,
Okay. Very
oh my
good pick.
God. Ah, love this guy, man. Love
Yeah.
this guy. You know what's crazy? All fucking Barcelona guys.
You were liking them in disguise, like incognito, like you didn't want to say
all,
it. Yeah.
all goddamn Barcelona guys, except for
I mean,
Guti.
yeah,
Except
I
for
mean,
Guti.
Argentina produced a lot of good number 10s. Like
Yep.
Riquelme was a hell of a maestro.
Yep.
Pablo Aimar as well. I used to even though Balak played many different positions, he played a little bit deeper, a little bit more attacking in the beginning of his
Mhm.
career. But if I had to pick him as a number 10 as well, I love Balak as a number 10 because he could do so many. He could play make, he could score. Riquelme was one of another number 10 that I used to like, pure maestros. Um, I loved him so much that I remember his cleats. He had like when he was playing with Villarreal, he had like those gold cleats.
Mhm.
It was just inspiring. Like every time I remember this cleats, it's like, oh, it's him. And I like I like number 10s that are very slow. I like slow number 10s who waits and looking around and like oh I love that, man. Who takes risks sometimes. Like I don't like those kind of like well, there's no number 10s anyway. I don't
Yeah,
like
it's dead.
fast paced. Yeah.
It's dead. That role.
Yeah, modern football is dead,
These guys
man.
are dead, bro.
Yeah.
It's like you got your number 10s are Jamal Musiala, Florian Wirtz. Like those are your number
Okay.
10s now.
I would take them as a number 10, but like
And Jude Bellingham.
Odegaard is not a number 10 for me because like he
Dude,
doesn't take any risk.
we gonna have to start having a conversation soon, man, about
No, it's too it's
Midgard. Like,
Odegaard. No. Let me. I remember when we were talking about Madison and him, and I picked
uh,
him. But I remember I was watching a Norway game,
uh,
the last game they had. He pissed me off because he was not taking any risk. I'm like, bro, your only great player is Haaland. Look for him. Take the risk. That's the last game. If you don't win, you're not gonna make it to the Euro. This dad was just going backward. I'm like, bro, I'm enough. But yeah, so we don't run too long on the pod. But we're gonna have to talk about that. But let's get to the last segment of the game. Why am I keep saying the last segment of the game today, Mike? The last segment of the show. Sorry, guys. So, do you want to just do it? Agree or disagree? And do you want?
No, we could do agree, strongly agree, disagree, strongly disagree.
Okay.
Yeah, we could do all four.
All right, so I'm gonna give Mike some sentences, and then he's gonna give me his opinion. Agree, strongly agree, or disagree, strongly disagree, or neutral. Might be neutral also.
Mm-hmm.
You ready, Mike?
Yeah, let's go.
Is the audience ready? All right.
play along.
Yeah. All right, first one. Not most likely though. So Clippers will win the Larry O'Brien this year.
Strongly disagree.
Okay.
Strongly disagree.
Second one, PSG will finish third in their Champions League group.
Disagree.
Okay.
Disagree.
Okay. You think they're gonna get it done?
I'm thinking Lucho's gonna figure it out.
Yeah. The French media hates him already because they're like he's a snob. Like he's playing with them. Like in terms of tactics, he doesn't want to explain his tactic. They're like, okay, Lucho the magician. All right. Sancho will play with Man United under Ten Hag again this season.
Is there something more than strongly agree? Like,
oh really? He will play?
No, he will never play for Ten Hag again.
Oh, you said strongly agree.
Yeah. Like, oh, my bad. Strongly disagree.
I said Sancho will play.
Strongly disagree.
Okay.
That man will be a garbage man before like he plays for Ten Hag again.
Yo, he's just waiting for Ten Hag to leave. AD will win Defensive Player of the Year this season.
Strongly disagree. Like,
oh, okay.
This dude, he won't play 65 games.
Okay. You got me there.
I should have prepared some for you too, man.
I was actually gonna tell you today, like
I should have.
I'm gonna do 5. You're gonna do 5, but I forgot. But next
time.
Big 7-0. Kim Thomas will win Most Improved Player this season. Ooh.
Yeah.
Mr. Ish Funny.
Let me think. There could be some players out there.
Oh, there's so many players, but if he just imagine his continue
like,
with that
yeah, because his point per game average is going to be so high if he still continues in the role. Agree. I'm gonna go with agree.
Oh,
go with agree. Yeah.
I was not expecting that because I thought you were gonna say like you don't care about the points if he's not contributing to like because he's not making his team better.
I mean, that's how I think of it, but like, you know, these people, they just like, especially in the NBA now in the league, like that's what they all look. That's why Donovan Mitchell is such a coveted player. What I think, like, he's just a third. He's your third best player on a contending team, man. Like, I'm sorry. Like Donovan Mitchell is nice, but
Yo, you be saying that so
he ain't
much,
that
bro.
he
Like,
ain't that
yo,
nice.
he ain't that.
He's nice, but he ain't that nice, bro. Like
I can count how many. Like, this is more than 10. My 10 fingers right now. Like, Mike, I've said it so much. But last one. Jalen Duren will have a better career than Mitchell Robinson. Ooh.
It's
a good one, right?
That is a good one.
Just think about it. Think about it.
Yeah. I will go agree.
Okay.
I'm gonna go agree. I think he's more polished than what Mitchell Robinson is. I think when it comes later down his career, Mitchell Robinson is going to find it a little bit tough to actually move around the league, because I think he's going to be like one of those guys like JaVale McGee, Dwight Howard, maybe Andre Drummond type of guy, because his skills aren't really that polished. He's more of a lob threat than anything. He struggles at the free throw line a little bit as well. So, he's going to be one of those role players that's, really good for a championship contending team, because he's still going to be able to play defense. He's still going to be able to play, with high energy and stuff like that. He's going to be a good guy for your locker room. But in terms of, when we're looking at it, it's I'm trying to build a team, and, this guy is going to be, part of my A plan. I don't think he's going to be that come 3-4 years down the line, because of the fact that his skills.
Jalen Duren was supposed to be in the Knicks. That's why I picked him.
Yeah, the way I'm looking, Jalen Duren is playing right now, I think because there's a lot of young guys in Detroit, and if they actually want to play with him, and they let him develop a little bit, because Detroit is so guard heavy. We're even hearing rumors about Jaden Ivey being
on the bench,
being upset being on the bench, and I'm like,
because they're starting what's his name?
Hayes, Killian Hayes, bum ass. It's like, but at the end of the day, it's I'm thinking of it. It's okay, even though he sucks, you guys are on a losing team. I think coming off the bench is probably a better role for you in terms of the team fit. So there's a lot of guards in Detroit. So I don't know if they're gonna actually let him develop and get some moves off. But if they do, I really like what this kid is showing. He's definitely showing more than what Wiseman ever showed, or Marvin Bagley for that matter. So
no, it's gonna be interesting to see his career path.
Yeah.
All right, that was fun. I think next time it's gonna be more fun if we kind of interchange.
Yeah.
I gave you one, you get okay. So
for sure.
Yeah. Next one for sure for the big 7-0.
And the Bucks got back in the game.
I told you before pre-production. I've told you listen, they were playing very bad defense early on, but they're gonna come back. It's the NBA, man. No lead is a threat. So yeah, that was episode 69. Appreciate everyone that's tuned in. And like I said, not like I said, it's kind of too aggressive, but you can always find it on. Yeah, that was kind of aggressive. My bad, guys. You can always listen to the show on Spotify, Apple, and YouTube. And this is episode 69. Mike, I'm gonna catch you off guard before we end the show. What should we name this episode?
Nice.
Okay. Okay. All right.
69.
True.
No, I'm kidding, man. Find a better title. Find a better title.
All right. This was fun. See you guys next time. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, everyone that's tuned in. Peace.